Welcome to the Remembrance service. Part of caring for our patients and our families here at Bozeman Health is to remember each and every one. We all grieve differently. It's unique to each one of us, and the time that it takes will vary. We hope today the music, the reading, the ritual, that you too will find some comfort. It is together in our community that we find our strength.
I've been thinking about family and what that really means. How I always imagined it's supposed to be. Sometimes love doesn't come in a box tied with a bow, but you really loved me, I know. I tried to let you in, showed you all the worst. You knew my heart so well and how to make it hurt, but we stuck together even when it was tough. We weren't perfect, maybe that's enough. Did I make you proud, though I took the winding road? I wish that you could see how far I've come. I don't know where you are, but there's no wall between us now. Forgive me for all I've ever done. Back on the years, summers at the cabin, laughter and tears, and the mess that's left when secrets overflow. But I still loved you, I want you to know. Did I make you proud, though I took the winding road? Wish that you could see how far I've come. I don't know where you are, but there's no wall between us now. I forgive everything you've done, 'cause in the end nothing's left but love. One last hug in the driveway, and you waved goodbye. Neither one of us knew it would be the last time. And you slipped away so gently in the night, with so much unanswered, I will never know why. Did I make you proud, though I took the winding road? I wish that you could see how far I've come. I don't know where you are, but there's no wall between us now. Forgive me for all I haven't done, 'cause in the end nothing's left but love. In the end, nothing's left but love.
We Remember Them by Sylvan Kamens and Rabbi Jack Raymer. At the rising sun and at its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of the summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of the autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are a part of us now as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. For as long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
A reading from the Apocrypha, Wisdom 3, 1-9. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and no torment will ever touch them. In the eyes of the foolish they seem to have died, and their departure was thought to be a disaster. And their going from us to be their destruction, but they are at peace. For though in the sight of others they were punished, their hope is full of immortality. Having been disciplined a little, they will receive a great good, because God has tested them and found them worthy of himself. Like gold in the furnace he tried them, and like sacrificial burnt offerings he accepted them. In the time of their visitation they will shine forth, and will run like sparks through the stubble. They will govern nations and rule over peoples, and the Lord will reign over them forever. Those who trust in him will understand truth, and the faithful will abide with him in love, because grace and mercy are upon his holy ones, and he watches over his elect.
To everything turn. and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to love, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven.
10 cups of flour, 4 cups of milk, 4 eggs, 2 sticks of butter, 2 packets of yeast, and a half a cup of sugar. I could recite this recipe from memory. It was the recipe for the favorite bread that we would have on feast days and holidays growing up. And on our birthdays, it was the bread that we got to share that morning. It was my mom's recipe for this marvelous eggy challah bread that she would make on those special days. It's a recipe that is written on the walls of my heart. All of us want a recipe for what is it that we are supposed to do when we face the death of someone who is dear to us, when we face the death of our beloved ones. But friends, there is no recipe for death. The first 2 steps, however, are always the same. We come together and we begin to tell the story of our beloved one. The first 2 steps, always the same. Because we know when those stories tend to build up within our own person, they can be almost too much for us. They can overwhelm us into inaction. But when we begin to tell those stories of our beloved, then they live again in the words that we share. They live in our hearts and in our memories, in our remembrance. They live as we gather today to share in this service of remembrance. We come seeking a recipe, and we find there is no recipe for death, because we know, like in the words that you read in the letter received, inviting you to join us today, we know that when we tell the story of our beloved ones, we are essentially telling one story. We are telling the story that love is indeed stronger than death. And that's why we gather. That's why we gather to remember. That's why we lean into the place created by the absence of those whom we love. Now, I don't know about each of you, but when I heard that reading from Wisdom that was just shared by Katie, I'm immensely comforted by those first words, that the souls of the just are in the hands of God, and no torment shall touch them. None. What a beautiful image. So comforting to know that we are held in the very hands of the one who calls us beloved. The souls of the just are in the hands of God. Now, I don't know about each of you, but I get a little troubled when I hear part of the next line of that reading from Wisdom. Like gold, he has tried them and purified them, so that they may be found worthy of himself. For years, this line used to twist me and tie me in knots, because it brought to mind images of fire and of being tried, and I was no longer finding myself held in the hands of the one who called me beloved. No longer was my first thought, love is stronger than death. Instead, I was thinking of a trial by fire, and images of being purified would distract me from knowing that I was God's beloved. That was what I thought until I had this amazing opportunity many years ago when I was working in Latin America. I was talking at a funeral when I was there, and this was the reading that was chosen. And the great gift that came out of that day was that someone invited me to go and visit a plateria, a silversmith, and a goldsmith. And there I watched how gold was poured into this marvelous stone basin, and how it was heated slowly, and how it took shape. And I asked him, this goldsmith in my terrible Spanish, I asked him, how do you know? How do you know when the gold is ready, if it is being purified? And so he began to explain the process of how the impurities would rise to the top and that they would burn off. And again, I asked him, but when is it done? When will you know that it's ready to be poured out into a ring or earrings or some other beautiful shape? He said, oh, when it's ready, you mean? Yes, when do you know? He said, oh, that's easy. He said, the gold will get a mirror-like finish over the top, so that when you gaze into the gold that is being purified, you will see your own face. And suddenly, my friends, this reading took on an entirely new meaning. If it is we who are purified in this way, like gold, it is we who are that precious to God and to our beloved ones, then when we are ready, we will reflect back the image of the Creator, the image of the one who calls us beloved. And what a marvelous thought to think, when that image of the Creator, of the beloved, is reflected in our lives, then we are ready. Then we will find ourselves and the souls of the just in the very hands of God. No longer did this reading have images of purification, but instead, it was an image of the reflection of the beauty that is the one who calls us beloved. That God's very visage would be reflected in our lives and in the lives that we celebrate today as we remember them with such love. It's a marvelous thing when you have an instant when something that was troubling you is transformed. It's transformed and becomes new, like we will become a new creation. And when that transformation happens, oh, what a grace. What a grace it is. And my friends, grace always does the same thing. The grace of remembering your beloved ones as we do today, that grace will meet you exactly where you are. But it will not leave you where it found you. That grace will take you to the sharing of yet another story, and another, and another. And you will find that you, in telling those stories, are reflecting the very life, the very love, the passions, the desires of the one that we celebrate this day, your beloved ones. My sisters and I, over the years, have, and I have to say this in hushed tones, we have changed Mom's recipe, but don't tell her. We have begun to make it our own. My sister, I know, when she makes Mom's bread, adds cinnamon and sugar and braids it into a marvelous cinnamon loaf. For my part, I use half wheat flour and half white flour. Another sister of mine uses honey instead of sugar, and I add raisins, golden ones, to my recipe. We all want a recipe to know what it is that we are to do when we lose the one we call our beloved one. But as we make that recipe our own, as we take those next and necessary steps of telling the story of our beloved one, my friends, I ask you, I implore you to trust that the first two steps will always be the same. We come together and we begin to tell the story of those we call beloved, because we know that the souls of the just are indeed in the hands of God. May God continue to bless you and your families in this time of remembrance, and may this ritual of music, song, and readings lift your minds and hearts so that you too might reflect the image of your beloved.
Epitaph, a poem from the Jewish tradition by Merit Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die, And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on your eyes and not on your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away.
We are all just walking each other home. 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 We are all just walking each other home.
Into your hands, O merciful Savior, we commend your servants. Acknowledge, we humbly beseech you, sheep of your own fold, lamb of your own flock, sinners of your own redeeming. Receive them into the arms of your mercy, into the blessed rest of everlasting peace, and into the glorious company of the saints in light. Amen.
We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral coming home. We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral coming home. Earth we are, and earth we will be. Earth we are, and earth we will be. We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral coming home. We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral coming home. Earth we are, and earth we will be. Earth we are, and earth we spiral. We are a spiral coming home. We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral.